So I'm here with my hazard lights on. So have no fear, everyone, going at 0 miles per hour, because this week's topic, so upcoming, is on expansion. And I frequently get friends who send me pictures of this sign, and I passed it twice. This will be the second time this weekend. El Dorado Omega Road in southern Georgia. And really just especially this trip emphasized to me such importance. El Dorado Omega, Gold Omega, okay, Golden Omega. So not only a namesake, but also very key in that in order to see this, in order to take the picture myself, in order to experience it, which mind you, I don't know what's off that exit. I don't plan to go off the exit. But still, the meaning that I have been able to glean from it, I could not through pictures. I myself had to go out of my comfort zone, out of my norm in order to come down here, southern Georgia. I was in Florida all this past weekend, and on my way up then in order to see this for myself. Expansion is the upcoming goal, the upcoming focal points of the Facing Fear initiative. Last week I was discussing a lot about, or actually only about failure. So again, we have the FEAR acronym, F-E-A-R, fear, failure to expand, act, and take risk. So we looked at failure, realizing that failure can be determined and identified based on what we view success as. So failure simply occurs in the absence of success, in the absence of what we view as success. So if we view success as a certain amount of money, we will always see ourselves as a failure unless we have $1 million. The reality of setting success to such material metrics is that it will continue to change. It's not truly anchored to something within us because they're external variables. So we will continue to feel like failures. We'll continue to feel like it'll go from 1 million as success. Once you get that 1 million, it becomes 2 million. So it'll remain in a constant state of failure. So the end goal then of last week's initiative was reframing our perspective around success, reframing our conception of success, and then therefore being able to achieve success every day. From achieving success every day, minimizing, reducing, if not fully eliminating the failure we experience. There's some things that cannot be controlled. There will certainly be hard times. There will certainly be things that are failures. A failing grade on a test is, that's definitely a fail, but we would be able to view that as, okay, this is something that has given me a learning opportunity, a new learning. As y'all can see, I'm clicking here on the screen trying to see what the best focus is. But now we're stepping into week 2. So hopefully you've taken some time. If you are just coming in, then welcome. I recommend that you go back and watch that video, download the worksheets on facing failure in order to work through and begin doing those things for yourself. So this week on expansion, so facing expansion being the action of becoming larger or more extensive. Okay, the thing formed by the enlargement, broadening, or development of something. The extension of a state's territory by encroaching on that of other nations. That's not the one we're going to use. We'll use those two. Let me go back and say them. The action of becoming larger or more extensive. A thing formed by the enlargement, broadening, or development of something. Expansion. That's what we're working on. This is where we're aiming to go this week. Ooh, let me tap the screen. Sorry. Expanding. So with this, again, a thing formed by the enlargement, that is going to be what our ultimate self looks like. So expansion is not so much a verb. Here you have the, a verb mentioned even under the noun category, the action of becoming larger. I am expanding. But the final product of that expansion is then a thing formed by the enlargement, broadening, or development of something. So that is us. That is your ultimate self. That is you. So in this week, What I encourage you to do, what I will be doing, is really developing an expansion plan. Imagining what your life would look like in your expanded state, what your thought process would be like, what actions you would take, what your friend group would be like, what career you would have, how your financial state would be, um, what other components. So even in the uh, goal game plan worksheet that I use a lot, I recommend that you download that, brainstorm your ultimate life vision with the concept of expansion, of you in this expanded form, broadening, developing, enlargement, not solely for the purpose of having a huge presence, of being massive, of anything that is fueled by pride. This is not the purpose of expansion. The purpose is for that ultimate growth, for the extension, so that way you can have the greatest impact that you are intended to have, in the way that you are intended to have it, and in the form that you are intended to execute the expansion in. Um, so with that, then again, we come back here to El Dorado Omega, a random sign here in southern Georgia. Somewhat misplaced. Again, I don't know what it actually attaches to, what the history behind it is. When I get home, I'll do some research and look it up and provide it over to you all, should there be any interesting findings. But ultimately, then again, it's what you design. For me, again, this past week, this past month, this past year has been a lot about embracing alpha, again being the title of my upcoming first novel. Is finished editing. Look out for it. But it's been really in seeing that gold within Omega. So this is really a key indicator of that expansion taking place, going to unexpected places, and recognizing that there's going to be pain. It's going to be uncomfortable. There's going to be things that will potentially plant doubt in our conception of what expansion looks like. If we view it in the terms of territory, then in all cases, and again, I'm not mentioning this in order to discuss the ethics behind expansion, but just facts around expansion itself, is that in all cases, I think very few, so I'll say in many cases, there was some type of opposition, there was some type of resistance. Expansion very rarely occurs where you're just able to go in freely, fully, and say, yes, great, we've expanded, because in most cases there is something existing there. There's going to be something that on the surface will look like expansion is impossible. This was the case with the Israelites and the Promised Land. I think it's the best example of that. And even as you begin to think about what your expansion looks like, tap into your source, tap into God, tap into the Word, tap into the Creator, whatever you use as your source, in order to guide you in that view of expansion. Because we limit our own personal view of that. We limit the vision that we set out within the framework of what is realistic and seen in society. So I again encourage and emphasize that isn't the purpose of this. I challenge you to go big or stay home. Not just truly go big or continue doing what you're doing. Again, this is facing fear. We are going out of our comfort zone and really moving outside of boundaries. So with that being said, the Promised Land, it was an immense territory, milk and honey, abundant, very fertile soil, but also there were giants there. There were people already occupying the land. It looked impossible. It was crazy. That is the doubt. That is the fear. Physical manifestation giants, symbolic through the word, that we all will have to face as we expand. As you do this, there's a prompt that I'll create in the document, that I'll place in the document, to just identify the giants. Identify the giants that will be present. The purpose again is not to be blind and say no, there are no giants. Identify them, recognize them, but also begin to claim over your territory, over your promised land, that you are capable, and the community, the people that are brought in your path, that those things will be capable to to step into the purpose and step into your expanded territory that was destined for you. Let nothing stop you. So I'll pan out a little bit just to provide more visual impact on the promised land. Again, this is just, the side of the road, again, heading up from Tampa to Georgia, random trees, random grass. But as you see, it's like the world is limitless. There is so much that is being done. Even as these cars pass, I'm just in awe of, each of these has an individual, a person, a human life that has their own purpose, plans, fears, goals, etc. And truly recognizing that it is our responsibility than no one else's in order to step into our El Dorado, to step into our city of gold, to step into our promised land. So here in week 2 of Facing Fear Expansion, this is an exciting one. Go wild, because next week again we are talking about action. So this is not a point of hesitation where it's like, whatever I write down I have to act on, because that will be the case. But this is an exciting period. There's a community now developing there on the Facebook page. There's a community there on the Omega Mind online page. There's a community that you have within your community itself to lean on, letting them know, hey, I'm doing this Facing Fear initiative. Join me on it. It's an exciting period. Really, when you think about what you stand to gain, it is everything. It is, an immense and abundant and exciting life. What you stand to lose is really nothing. You would just remain in whatever state you currently are in. So I end this once again with saying, go big or stay home. Tap into your sources and think expansively. Until next time, love ya. Oh, tomorrow I will be going live. So I'm going to post this tonight when I get home, but I will be going live tomorrow on Facebook, likely around 8:30. Yeah, I think I'm going to do them at 8:30 Eastern. So I will look forward to seeing some of you, hopefully all of you, then. Until next time.